Our countdown really do be glitching sometimes. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Blitz City Podcast. I'm your host, Kobe Orr, and of course, this is the panel, man. Kelly Flicks at the bottom of me. You got the boy Blue Bloods at the bottom right, and of course, my co-host Clay McCarter at the top right. Guys, what's going on, man?
Chilling, man, at the hotel, ready to knock this out, man. Way better than just sitting here doing nothing.
Heard
All right,
that.
big week. Some media days going on. As we're getting into football season, I'm ready for it.
I
Yep.
can't. Less than 50 days away, bro. I can't wait. Oh my god.
Shit, I've been on the road. I got off of work last night at 8:45, drove to Atlanta, stayed in Atlanta last night, woke up 8 o'clock in the morning, drove back home to Kentucky, and at my grandma's house getting ready to have a family reunion tomorrow morning. So,
I
doing
don't
it.
see how
Can't
do all
complain.
that. Me,
Can't
man.
complain.
Let me get the plane, bro. I can't do all that driving.
Can't complain.
Man, dude, like I could do plane, I don't mind it, but man, bro, let me. My car gets really, really good gas mileage on the highway. Give me 2, 3 tanks of gas over a plane ticket nowadays. Plus, with all the cancellations, and I get to chill with my music. Listen, your best thinking, your creativeness for your channel, for your career happens when it's like 2 a.m. and you're driving through Louisiana on I-20, and it's you, the
That's
deer,
a
and
good
the and
point.
the and the possum. Like that's where the best ideas come from.
That was me last night. I was sitting here. I got off of work 8:45. I went home, showered, grabbed my bag, left the crib at 9:15. I was driving to Atlanta, and I stayed at a friend's house. And the whole time I'm driving, I was listening to music, doing my thing. But at the same time, I got like about an hour of the whole drive where I just turned the music off. I was sitting there in silence, just like thinking about just a bunch of different things.
That's what happens. All right,
Facts.
but let's get into it. All right. First topic of the day. All in their prime. Who your QB1? Just like we did last week, we got some new guys. RG3, Lamar Jackson, Caleb Williams, Braxton Miller. If it's me, I'm gonna choose Braxton. I'm gonna choose Braxton. I'm gonna tell you why. All right, the man was a two-time Heisman front winner, 2 times, back to back. All right, offensive player of the year, what, twice as well? QB of the year, like he was balling. He was really balling at quarterback. The man's just a dynamic athlete. All right. Now the stats may not be the best out of everybody on this list, but Braxton was balling for Ohio State. That's for me. I'm gonna choose Braxton, but y'all go ahead.
I'm gonna go with, and this is gonna be subjective because I would say in a different environment, he had the opportunity to possibly go down as probably a top five or ever. I'm going Lamar Jackson. The reason why I'm going Lamar Jackson is because look at the talent that was around him at Louisville.
Mm.
This man was a human joystick highlight reel waiting to happen. Everyone woke up and you watched SportsCenter the next morning to see what he did, putting up 400 passing yards, 200 on the ground, whatever it was, 7 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns, whatever it was. I would say Lamar Jackson had a better career than RG3 in college, 100%. But at the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
time, is you don't know what is Caleb poised for next year. Caleb very well could go back to back Heisman next year. There's no ruling that says he doesn't have that opportunity. He has a chance to win a national title next year. But in that situation, to answer this question, in their prime, obviously without seeing another year of Caleb Williams, give me Lamar Jackson.
What you thinking, Kelly?
Unmute that. All right. So it's kind of tough. All right. So, you did mention RG3 with it. And I'd pick RG3 in a situation. Like, I like Lamar Jackson and what he's done for Louisville, but what RG3 did for Baylor was pretty incredible, especially being in the Big 12, battling it out with big teams like Oklahoma, Texas at the time. Texas Tech was still there, even TCU. So it kind of comes to a point where I go, okay, RG3's impact at Baylor might have been better than Lamar Jackson's, Caleb Williams, Braxton Miller's, because Ohio State, USC have already been household names. Granted, Louisville, there hasn't been a household name. But when it comes to winning those big games, Lamar Jackson had a chance to do it at his program and playing against Clemson and playing against Miami's, and so did RG3. And I really like RG3's performances. Honestly, him throwing fadeaway deep balls and falling back and just hitting his head. Like, come on, you can't not like that type of stuff.
I think we all talked about this on a couple episodes ago. That Lamar Jackson Clemson game, he got screwed. He got
Hard.
screwed. He got screwed. There was definitely at least 2 snaps in that drive.
Yeah, I mean, I was mostly surprised with Kobe's pick because, like, when I look at this, it's anybody but Braxton Miller. Like, that was the first name I
Really?
eliminated. Like, if you get benched and moved to wide receiver, I can't pick you over the three. Like, I can't do
bring
that.
the injuries into it. Let's bring the injuries into it. That was a reason.
But he never got the job back. He played wide receiver at the end of the day. Like, that's why I can't go with him. Like, if you couldn't even get your job back, like if Caleb Williams got hurt, is USC just keeping him out? Probably not. Same for the other two guys. Like, I think if he was that guy at quarterback, like you said, the stats aren't great. But I think we're gonna go 4-4 on this. I'm going Caleb Williams. I think his ceiling is higher than all four other guys, especially at the collegiate level. I think he has the best size. I think he has the best arm. I think he has. I really do think this year with USC is really his tell. Like Clay said, if he goes back to back Heisman, the debate is a wrap. And I really do think, looking around college football, he's got to be the strong favorite to go back to back. There's really no one that you would pick right now that you would say is for sure going to knock off Caleb Williams.
Bo Nix.
Like you guys are saying, I would say that if you were to give a preseason Heisman favorite right now, it's Caleb Williams. And then maybe you make an argument for what happens on the rebound of the injury for Blake Corum, what happens for possibly their quarterback, what happens for
Drake May.
There's a couple people out there that you can make a case for, but it's like, out of all the people you want to make the case for, the guy just won it last year. You know what I mean? And he's playing again. So it's like, I agree.
Hey,
Did you guys see Matt Miller?
Just to put
Matt
this
Miller's
disclaimer
tweets
out
about
there.
him?
Huh?
Did you guys see Matt Miller's tweets about Caleb Williams today?
I did not know. I didn't see it.
Matt Miller went on a 5-tweet rampage talking about his obsession with Caleb Williams, talking about in the last X amount of classes that I've overviewed and looked at and had to grade and everything. Caleb Williams is try to play like the Bryce Young card, mature beyond his years, his play, his ability, his everything. He said, I refer to this guy as a wow player in X amount of years. I haven't said that about very many guys at the quarterback level.
Wow.
Matt Miller seems to be very high on Caleb.
We'll see. Hey, it's real hard to win the Heisman for a second time, but we'll definitely see what happens. Fox Sports, however, I'm not gonna say it. That's so unserious. Oregon State, man. DJ Uiagalelei was drafted by the LA Dodgers in the 20th round just a couple of days ago, which sparked the conversation on if he should give up his possibility of playing pro football or pro baseball. In my opinion, this isn't like a Kyler Murray situation where they had that topic, because he was going to be the number one pick. You're going to choose football over baseball. That's because you want the glory. DJ, what is his projected, where is he projected to even go? Fourth, fifth? If he gets drafted, is he going to really get an opportunity, a fair shot? Is the team really going to take a chance on him and try to develop him because they see the potential in him to eventually be a starter? I don't think so. Maybe I'm having this conversation with him, look, man, the money might be in baseball long term. I'm just saying, you go to the NFL, you a backup, making probably league minimum. I take the baseball route. That's just me. But what do y'all think?
I would say, it's like you just got done saying with Kyler Murray. We're talking about way different spectrums. With DJ Uiagalelei, even if he has a stellar season next year, he's not getting drafted before the 4th round. I just don't possibly see it. Everybody saw what he did at Clemson, and I don't think a single person in America was impressed with anything that he possibly did. Kyler Murray was not only the number 1 pick in the draft, he was also the 8th pick in the MLB draft and had a guaranteed contract of over $11 million. He was a stud baseball player. DJ Uiagalelei, I don't even know if he's necessarily. I never really paid attention to him with baseball because it's the same thing for James Winston.
I heard he's a decent pitcher.
Because he could probably. He has the frame for it. Don't get me wrong. Big pitcher, being probably 6'5", 235, whatever. He has the frame to be a great pitcher. He probably throws extremely hard, but 20th round the MLB. Do you know how many years he has to be in the MLB's lower classes of single A to double A to triple A to wait to be a call up to see if somebody has cap space and wants to take the chance. He's going to have to play, I'd probably say a minimum probably 4 to 6 years in the minors before he even gets a shot at playing in the majors.
But when we talk about chances, like, is he going to get a chance sooner in the NFL than he would in the MLB?
He'll probably get a chance he's going to get a chance in the NFL. And it's going to be solely based off of what he did in high school and the ranking that he had. And, he had a bad stint at Clemson. He didn't have it. Well, he's only going to have 1 year, and then he's going to declare. I mean, he's going to be in the NFL regardless. He's going to be in the NFL. Now, he's going to end up being a glorified practice squad quarterback, but
that's what, like, is it worth it?
I mean, at this point, he's not going to be some big-time draft pick. He's not going to be on anybody's 53-man roster for people that can possibly get in the game on a Sunday or a Monday or now Tuesday or a Thursday. Right now, I would say it's even odds. Like, just pick which route you want to go and focus on that and dive into it at this point. I mean, 20th round the MLB, you're probably going to go 4th or 5th in the NFL draft. I mean, I would say that's the same odds.
Yeah, now this pick was super unserious. I'm not gonna lie, man. Getting picked in the 20th round as like 618th overall, like it's kind of hard to even compare you to Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray was actually picked first round, like 9th pick. Like, totally different ends of the spectrum. I think when it comes to DJ, you could think about baseball, right? And you can go, okay, maybe baseball is an option. I did get a chance to see DJ pitch in high school at St. John Bosco his junior year, and I believe he played his senior year also. I'm not sure. I think he may have left early, actually, for Clemson. But even in that, this is clearly a play for the Dodgers, right? You go ahead and sign this guy from SoCal Star in his last year of eligibility in college football, right? And go get a look, and let's use this as a marketing plan, right? Maybe we could bring DJ on if he makes it to the NFL, and now he could come and throw out a pitch because you were drafted by us last year and things of that matter. I think DJ honestly needs to just focus on football. Let's focus on Oregon State. Oregon State is a great place for you right now. You have a chance to be a budding star in the Pac-12, a Pac-12 that honestly has a gang of good quarterbacks, and it won't be very hard for them to shine the light on you in any particular matchup. So when it comes to DJ, just do your thing, play football, and see where the cards land up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the salary, like everyone's talking about, should you go get the money? Man, so what are we looking at? With that type of pick, you're probably double-A at that point. That's like $13,000 to like $25,000 a year.
Whoa.
Yeah, like people think that if unless you are on a roster in professional baseball, like he might be better going to the XFL or USFL than going to play single A or double A baseball. Like if you're not playing triple A or you're on a roster, man, it's a moot point. And at the end of the day, for all this was the Dodgers drafting his rights. So he can still go to the draft. He can still finish out his career at Oregon State. Just go try XFL, USFL. The Dodgers have his rights. And at the end of the day, if that's something you want to explore in 4 to 5 years, man, just go goof off in the single or double A, and you got the money. It really ain't a big deal. You get to go play baseball and do your thing. At the end, I don't think this was a real career altering decision. Like DJ doesn't have a real decision to make. He's going to stay at Oregon State. He's going to go to the draft. He's going to play football. This is just kind of like like Kelly said, a weird backup plan, kind of like a good marketing thing for the Dodgers. God forbid DJ goes and plays baseball for them. I'm sure that'd be a huge ticket selling thing for the local community and all that. But man, at the end of the day, baseball players do not make money unless you're a star. There's no decision here.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, no, I don't think he should leave college. And by any means, I'm just talking about as far as the NFL goes. Get the degree for certain, because I mean, whether you choose baseball or football, your future ain't certain in any of them right now. But I didn't know like 13,000.
Yeah, like he's saying. I mean, 20th round, like what you're talking about. Right now, inside, I have my sister's fiance. He played 4 years at USF, and he wound up going and playing in single A for the Yankees. Single A Yankees contract was like $35,000, and the amount of things you had to go through for that, you're not even covering your expenses basically.
All them games in a season for 35.
Yeah, I mean it's not like unless you're moving up there, like you're not doing nothing.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that range is crazy. What I read about it, I'm trying to figure out what's up with this 20th round. I thought it was super late. I thought the MLB was like 60 rounds anyway. But from what I saw, as far as being picked in the 20th round, that range is typically reserved for total Hail Marys on players unlikely to sign. Favors to familial connections and organization or players that might sign with a lofty bonus if other players in the draft decide not to sign. So it's a long shot.
Oh, okay. So trash. But now I want to talk about something with y'all that was really crazy when I heard it. Maybe y'all agree with it, but I don't. UGA tight end Brock Bowers is reportedly believed to be just as good as an NFL prospect as Kyle Pitts. Do you first of all, you being a Florida guy, Clay, I want to hear you. Do you agree or disagree with this? Because I thought it was absolutely absurd. But hey.
Okay, so Kyle Pitts finished in his career as a Florida Gator with a little over 1,000 yards, 18 touchdowns. I'd say probably around 70 to 80 catches. I know that he had roughly about 1,100 something yards. I know he had 18 touchdowns. Overall, I mean, prospect-wise, I mean, where does it shake down to the combine? I mean, Kyle Pitts is a bigger overall human being than Brock Bowers. I mean, we'll see how he tests at the combine. I mean, yeah, he's putting up crazy numbers at Georgia, but look at the apples to apples of where Brock Bowers is compared to where Kyle Pitts was with Florida. You know what I mean? I mean, right. Brock Bowers came in starting as a freshman. Kyle Pitts didn't start as a freshman. So, I mean, prospect, how it comes and shakes down, I mean, Brock's putting up the numbers and everything. He's going to be ranted and raved on. It's all going to come down to the combine. I mean, if he tests better than Kyle Pitts at the combine, then yeah, but you also understand Kyle Pitts was a top 5 pick.
Man, does he even have the catch radius of Kyle Pitts?
Hell, bro, Kyle Pitts is almost 6'7".
Oh my God, bro, they're the same size.
Yeah, they really are. Like, just wait till the combine. They're going to be. The measurements are very similar.
Really?
Yeah. Now, when it comes down to,
I thought Brock was like 6'4".
He's closer to 6'5". He's closer to. Listen, the kid is not small. Like I guarantee.
No, he's definitely not small by any means.
I don't think he's small.
But the problem is, okay. So let me throw this at you guys. Clay made the point. He thought saying that Bowers starting as a freshman was a knock against him. That's why he's a better prospect. He's already better than Kyle Pitts was at this point in his development. He had more touchdowns, catches, and yards than Kyle Pitts had in any season at Florida, like in his first season as a true freshman. And he repeated that last year. He right now, as a true tight end, Brock Bowers, in my opinion, is a better prospect than Kyle Pitts.
Really?
Yeah. Kyle Pitts has the measurables. If you're just looking for who walks off the bus first, go get Kyle Pitts. That's cool. But in my opinion, Brock Bowers is going to be more productive and has the higher upside compared to Kyle Pitts.
I mean, look, Kyle Pitts got drafted at number 4, right? He was the fourth best prospect in 2021. Brock Bowers, to me, is a top 5 prospect, however or whatever year you can think of. When you think about a tight end of his stature and what he's done, if he would have came out last year, he would have been a top prospect. And even staying around for this next year, he'll really rival the top prospects like Marvin Harrison Jr. We'll see these type of comparisons where it goes, well, which way do you want to go with your franchise? Marvin Harrison Jr. or Brock Bowers? Because kind of what Brock Bowers brings to a team is an exceptional playmaker, and especially at tight end. We haven't seen this in a couple of years, quite honestly. Even with Kyle Pitts, it took a year for him to really get adjusted to the league. When you look at Brock Bowers, he looks like a guy that you could just set up and from day one will be the starter, will be the guy, and will really change your program. So when it comes to this discussion, I kind of lean on the Brock Bowers side of things, but I do think that as a prospect, they're both top 5 prospects. And at the end of the day, they're just both great tight ends that will probably be generational.
Right.
Like, I think Kyle Pitts, and their comparisons are very equal because they're both great, but they're good in different ways. Like, Kyle Pitts is more of that Waller type comparison where they're super athletic, going to go outside, play in the slot. Brock Bowers is going to be like George Kittle.
Yeah, he can.
I
would give
Brock
Brock Bowers.
Comparison. I like
Brock Bowers. His line blocking ability is better. I mean, he's better than Kyle Pitts.
Yes.
At the blocking aspect in every category, but like you were just saying, 100% in terms of moving to the slot. I think Brock Bowers can go in the slot too, but I mean,
yeah, he could.
I would say, I mean, they're somewhat equal. I mean, Brock goes out and hoops this year. I'm giving it to Brock, but we'll see. different situations, man. High-powered offense with that amount of talent around Brock compared to Kyle Pitts, really having a coming to Jesus moment whenever we had Kyle Trask the year that they played Bama and lose a very, very close game, and that's whenever he really had his coming out season. Brock Hoops this year, I would say he's a better prospect, 100%.
I'll say, doesn't that kind of help, if I'm not mistaken, Bowers in this argument? Because let's be honest, has Georgia's wide receiving core the past 2 years been good? Would y'all say, well, okay, let me say this. Would y'all rank it top 3 in the SEC each of those past years, taking Bowers out of it? Because I know Bowers is a part of it. So you probably, like, outside of Bowers, did they have a guy?
Top 3? No, because they spread the ball so much, and they also like to run the ball. But I mean, in terms of offensive passing yard production, 100% they're top 3 in the SEC.
Because that's my thing, is he's like the focal point of that offense. Like, if you take, like, Ladd McConkey does this thing. Like, I don't know how he does this thing. He's like a weird Julian Edelman type, but he's not the guy. Like, you're not going to rely on Ladd McConkey to go win you games by himself. But Brock Bowers, you can. And let's just be honest, all of us on this panel have talked about how it's real difficult to come in as a freshman and play in the SEC. I just pulled it up. Brock Bowers had almost 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns as a true freshman in the SEC.
He's a stud.
Well, that settles that, then. Okay. Now, next topic. Yeah, I'm pretty sure y'all saw this.
Oh, I couldn't wait for this one.
Blue. I know y'all saw this. So, former Alabama linebacker Demoy Kennedy, who's now at Colorado, says that the strength program is similar to Alabama's. The only difference is Colorado teaches you more technique. I didn't know what to think about this. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought it was kind of wild. I mean, to compare these two programs, especially a program like Nick Saban, who has produced the athletes that he has, because of that. I've heard stories about freshmen coming in and with the athletic trainers and what they had to go through. I don't believe him. I feel like he's just a little salty at Bama still, so he kind of threw a little slick shot in there, but I mean, maybe he's just loving being around Prime because the Prime effect is real. Let's be honest, the Prime effect is real. He's happy. The camera's in his face. They got the music going. It's, maybe that's what it is. He's just a little happy right now. But I thought that was kind of ridiculous of him. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. Y'all, what y'all got to say?
All I'm saying, and I'm gonna leave it at this, I need to see bank statement of if somebody paid that man to say that, how salty is he against Nick Saban and Alabama? Blue, correct me if I'm wrong. Is Alabama's strength and conditioning coordinator not the highest paid guy at that position in all of college football?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, no, because the one they had, the Cochran guy, went to Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he? But I still think the new guy's one of the highest paid too. So, it really doesn't matter. Nick said, Alabama's paying whatever they need to for any coach.
Exactly. So, this is a publicity stunt because he's salty. I'm gonna leave it at that. You're not telling me right now that Coach Prime comes for one season, you have a better strength and conditioning program than Alabama when Nick Saban's won.
It's the Prime effect. I swear to God, man.
He's won in all of the seasons Nick Saban's coached. Half of the seasons he's won a national championship. He's been to the SEC championship like 10 fucking times in the last 15 years. No. This is blasphemy.
Yeah, now if we were talking about college gymnastics or something, you know what I mean? When it comes to lifting and technique, this might have made a little bit more sense. But when we're talking about something that will actually translate to being good on the football field, having great technique in the weight room is not necessarily gonna help you. This right here, this is just kind of what Colorado's offseason has been when you talk about actual football, X's and O's. It's been like a whirlwind of things, kind of a tornado of I don't know what I'm gonna get out of it. Between that spring game where you have a guy like Montana Lamonius Craig go for 5 catches, 700 yards and transfers the day after, to a guy that transfers from Alabama to Colorado and would really tell us that he thinks that Colorado's new strength and conditioning coordinator is that much better than Alabama's based off of possibly 2 or 3 weeks of practice. It's unheard of. I think that when you talk like this, you honestly don't really understand what a good strength and conditioning coordinator is. Like mentioning technique to me, it just sounds like blasphemous. I think it's a lot of fluff, and they're kind of talking around the subject instead of actually talking about what we need to talk about, which is Colorado going to be a Pac-12 looking team? They didn't look like Pac-12 in the spring game, so talking around it would be, we have good technique in the weight room, but results would show us the spring game and a bigger team.
Bro.
Guys, this is a sad day. This guy went out here and embarrassed my hometown. He's from Mobile. He played at Theodore. Like, this is embarrassing. We gotta be careful who we let into our schools down here, man. This is ridiculous. I still don't know what to say. Because here's where I'm looking at. You're comparing Prime, and listen, he's just getting into his career. Until Prime produces and develops the amount of NFL, not draft picks. Let's not even go draft picks. Superstars that Nick Saban has in his career, we're just pausing the debate. When his blue chip development ratio is damn near 85%,
right?
We're gonna pause it because this is just ridiculous, man. Like, come on, like we saw some of that spring game.
I really do feel like this is coming from a place of just saltiness, bro. Because like I do remember one of the former Alabama players who was in the NFL. He was telling a story. He was like, "Yeah, when I was a freshman, I first got to Alabama, and like he had a class dispute, right? He had a class that was interfering with workouts. So he calls the trainer. He's like, "Hey, man, I got a class. I can't really make it." And he said all the training coach said to him was, "This ain't for everybody," and hung up. You know, so it's like maybe it's that kind of attitude, and maybe he just got a little salty, and he just threw a shot. But man, be for real, bro. Somebody should have checked him on that. If I'm Colorado, I'm looking at him like, why are you even saying this, bro? Like, don't bring us up with Alabama right now. We're just trying to get things going.
It's bringing a lot of unwarranted notoriety for no reason.
Yeah, let me guess. It was said on the pregame show.
No, wait, was it so? No, I think. Where did he say that actually?
Hey, yo.
No, Blue, it might have been said on the pregame show. I swear to God.
Well Off Media called it on a hot mic.
Oh my God! All right, next topic. Who wins the wide receiver battle? The wide receiver university battle between LSU and Ohio State. I'm taking Ohio State. Disagree with me if you want to. Disagree with me if you want to. But I feel like that's just
easily LSU.
That's
It's
really
it's LSU.
Easily. Okay,
No,
think about this.
Stop
Kobe,
it.
break it down this way.
Stop it.
In the last 10 years, the best wide receiver to come from Ohio State is Michael Thomas. In the last 10 years, the best wide receivers to come from
Terry McLaurin's balling.
Okay. Like I was saying, in the last 10 years of receivers that have came from LSU,
Oh
Jarvis
my
Landry,
goodness.
Odell Beckham, Justin Jefferson.
Odell State. Oh, okay. Odell and Jamar are balling. Odell stays hurt, injury prone. Let's be real.
Hey, hang on, bro. Come on, stop it.
Kobe, stop.
Well, we ended.
You just got done saying that your quarterback pick who turned to wide receiver.
Yeah,
Man, listen, it's not a debate. LSU. I would say that this would be more of a debate for LSU versus Clemson.
But aside from Jamar and Justin, you said Odell. Who else?
Jarvis Landry, DJ Chark, Dwayne Bowe, Terrence Marshall, Brandon LaFell, Josh Reed, Devery Henderson played forever in the NFL. Ruben Randall.
It's a good point.
Kayshon Boutte just got drafted. They got the best SEC returning wide receiver in the country.
In the last 10 years. In the last 4 or 5 years, Ohio State has been putting some serious NFL talent at the receiver position. But if you want to
Harrison Jr., Chris
10,
Olave,
15, 20 years,
Garrett Wilson,
in the last that's
you just named hang on, time out. The debate ends here. Y'all ready? He said 4 names. LSU had 6 draft picks on one team. In the debate.
Kelly, let's
I don't
hear it.
like
Yeah,
that.
it's more kind of, to me, it's a little bit more like about a volume conversation, right? A lot of people like to really rely on Ohio State's receiving core because, I mean, quite honestly, what Coach Hartline has been doing up there has been amazing. You know, he's been putting out a lot of guys consistently year after year after year. But the thing about LSU is, I mean, kind of Blue mentioned it, when it comes to NFL success and how much of a difference maker you can be in the NFL. I mean, Justin Jefferson is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, voted by his peers. You know, Odell Beckham Jr. was one of the best receivers in the NFL, voted by his peers. So when it kind of comes down to career success, I would tend to lean towards LSU. But as far as being wide receiver, you in college football, these two teams are them. Like, they're him, as nobody even close. But I would side with LSU.
Is it Odell? That's like tipping it over for y'all. Is that what?
No, it's
No,
not.
it's
It's
no,
not.
it's
Jarvis Landry was a bigger producer at LSU than
Yeah.
Odell was.
like, and you forget, like, even the guys who might not have been great in the NFL, early Doucette, Demetrius Byrd, like, those dudes were highlight reels. Terrence Tolliver, I'm throwing in there. And then, I mean, if you really want to get down to it, Malachi Dupree was a dog when he was at LSU.
Malachi
as well.
Dupree was a dog. I forgot about Malachi.
Yeah, so you're even looking at guys who were college stars who might not have turned out in the NFL. Like the LSU list, like when they did the greatest wide receivers of all time for LSU, they had 46 names on there.
46.
Ohio State wouldn't have 30.
I mean, if you want to break it down by eras, then the conversation can be had.
Yeah, that's different.
That's different. Like if you want to break down in the last 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, because we all can agree in the last 10 years, Clemson's put some dogs in the NFL. Alabama's put some dogs in the NFL.
Yeah.
You want to go back to the last 20 years, I would say USC has put some dogs in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, it's subjective, but if you want to go of all time, LSU is definitely over Ohio State.
Because if you go kind of recent too, maybe even all time, Oklahoma could be on the fringe of conversation as well. They've turned out some really, really good wide receivers too.
Y'all like CD like that?
I would say he was extremely overhyped for what we've seen out of him in the last couple of years, but he's tough, bro. Don't get me wrong. I would love him on my team.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Oklahoma great to me.
For sure.
Yeah, Oklahoma great for sure. All right. Northwestern's head coach. I just learned about this. Getting fired because a former player exposed the culture of hazing, which is weird in 2023. That's absolutely insane. Hazing and sexual abuse, some of which he experienced during his time at Northwestern. Yo, how crazy is it that we are dealing with this in 2023? Hazing in college football?
Right.
Hazing. It's in this day and age.
It's tough because it's like how long. I mean, like I said, this is all new to I think all of us. I haven't really dove into it very, very much because I mean it's no shot to them. I'm not taking a shot at somebody's program. Northwestern. I don't pay attention to Northwestern extremely time-consumingly, I guess. But if depending on the time period of how long it went off, especially in the social media era, that's crazy. Because how did nobody speak up earlier? How did nobody point this out earlier? How was this not made a point to an athletic director? How did this not get brought up to the committee, or anything? How did this not reach a higher up earlier in the stages? So there's no place for it, especially with anything that's related to sexual abuse. I mean, we've already gone down that road multiple times. Everybody in all of our lifetimes, how many times have we seen a sexual abuse or something that has to reduce with sexual harassment or cover-ups for players doing wrong things with the opposite sex or whatever? But for this to be whatever it is in this time period, I mean, this is crazy.
What's the goal with this? Like, as a head coach, you bringing in this type of culture, what's the goal? This isn't going to make you tougher. This isn't going to make recruit. You've really kind of damaged that program even after you left.
I mean, it's the same thing for Ed O. I mean, they made a bunch of allegations saying that the whole LSU staff was hiding up guys being accused for rape charges. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, I doubt Ed O ever gets another college job again. Now, does he probably
except
want
for
to coach
maybe
again? No.
except
He
for
had
Northwestern, because
he
he
had
was already rumored to be. Which
I
we'll
was
get
gonna
into
ask
that with that. Well, we'll get with that to the
Weird.
next topic, because the next topic I can't believe is even the topic, but we'll group that in together.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly what you're saying. Ed O, the next person that we're going to be talking about probably. And then, your other guys that they always rumor about, well, can they come and save the program? Your Bob Stoops that comes out every year.
Bob Stu. Oh my God, how long has it been?
They could talk about
Right.
your local high school head coach has a vacancy, and they're like, Bob Stoops is rumored to be taking the job. It's like, come on, bro. Just lay it to rest. This man's sitting on a rocking chair with his wife. Let him just chill, bro.
Right. Yeah. No. Kind of what you were saying, Clay. I mean, this happening in 2023 is what's most surprising. You know what I mean? Maybe back in 1989, it's something you could sweep underneath the rug and act like nothing's happened. But when we talk about Coach Fitzgerald, he is the most winningest coach at Northwestern. Right. So he's a guy that has had the spotlight on him for years. And for something like this to be happening and be ongoing is a real black eye to his legacy. We talked about Kirby Smart and what would happen with UGA's legacy with all these different allegations. And I was really blunt about it because when it comes to these allegations, this can change the way everybody looks at you. You go from a winner to a loser very fast. And looking up this article and trying to figure out some details, there weren't many details, but there was something I thought was interesting, which is they do this training camp down in Wisconsin, down in Kenosha, Wisconsin. They will now cease to do that. They're stopping that. Apparently, there was a lot of hazing and different incidents happening on this training camp trip. So when it comes to talking about Coach Fitzgerald, I think this was a nasty culture that he just honestly overlooked. I think if you have some knowledgeable GAs that are around, if you have some strong team leaders on your team, you'll get at least a thought that something like this might be happening, and let's kind of nip this in the bud. But to me, this was a culture of just let's not know. Let's turn a blind eye to it. Whatever happens, happens, and let's just focus on football.
Yeah,
I
think.
Oh, but go ahead, Boo. I was saying, you can't convince me that nobody knew about this.
Yeah, exactly.
In this day and age of social media, there's no way. There's no way. It's not just the coach. Like, a lot of people knew about this. I just felt like he was the one who got fired. More people knew.
There's Snapchats and Instagram stories and stuff out there. They just probably didn't get brought to the limelight. Like you said, there's no way in today's internet era that this just wasn't known. There's no way.
Yeah, because I mean, really and truly, like, some things have to happen where it has to be the right person to address it, and then that person has to tell the right media person where it all blows up, because you don't know if it's been reported to other people, and but the fact that the student newspaper is the one who brought down the winningest coach of all time at that school is the most ironic thing, I think, of the whole story. Like, it wasn't the big names at ESPN, it wasn't CBS Sports, Bleacher, whatever. It was the student newspaper. So I can just imagine how nerve-wracking it was trying to get that together without letting people know what was going on. But I mean, I think when you're at a program that long, you might lose sight of kind of like the long-term goal of developing young men and things like that. And once it started happening, he started getting away with it, and then the players had to reinforce it. Let's not let the players off the hook. The players had to be willing participants in this at the end of the day. And guys, we all played. The coach is not around as much as people like to think. That culture was passed down to the players, and the players were the ones that continued to generate that bad culture. So I think firing him's a start, but I got a feeling that that locker room's still going to be a very toxic place until they get a whole new cycle of guys in there.
Right. And, I think about the future, like when it comes to recruiting, right? Because I think they've already assigned the interim head coach and the defensive coordinator and all that. So, what parent, after hearing that news, would want to even trust you with their kid? Nobody. You feel me? Like, the long-term effects of this, it's going to hurt them for a minute.
And like Blue was saying, I mean, it's in terms of, head coach's presence over every single position group. You have position coaches for a reason. There's bad apples in that staff. It's not the whole blame's definitely not on just the head coach. The blame goes down to, like Kelly said, like Blue said, it's GAs, it's possibly trainers, and it's position coaches, coordinators, the whole 9 yards. I mean, it's whatever the total amount of the staff is, there's bad apples that are in that allowed that to where they were okay with hiding it from the coach, or they let it be known to the coach, and the coaches turn a blind eye to it. Either way,
Yeah.
regardless, we all can agree there's no place for it in college football. Regardless, we've all gone down the path. I think that everybody should have been, shell shocked after you saw what happened at Penn State.
Right.
Everybody should have been like, okay, hold on. Like, this is an absolute no-no, a line you never cross after the Penn State incident. And even more following, like whatever happened with the young man that passed away under, what was that, at Maryland under Fickle?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, other things that kind of go, like things that have happened and transpired over the years, like you would think that something like this would not be going on in today's game.
Yeah. Now, even this Northwestern team, I thought was most interesting is like their roster management. When it comes to receiving transfers and people transferring out, they have an actual cap on allowing people to transfer into their program every year. It's like a school institution type of thing. And if a lot of people don't know, Northwestern is could be one of the Ivy League schools. It's high academia. It's very hard to get in. So when it comes to like creating this culture, it took time to create this culture. You didn't bring in 30 transfer portal guys and things changed. This is a matriculation of nastiness, right? And now we're finally getting to the head. And hopefully after the coach has been knocked off, we look at the other assistant coaches. We look at the players. We figure out who was really doing these things, because we don't have any names. We haven't gotten any details because the players are still under 21 and things like that. They're amateurs. So moving forward, we'll get to find out who was really the cause of these problems with more investigations.
Hopefully. And that's why it brings me to my next question, which I actually saw. Because number one, I don't think Urban Meyer, especially not Urban, but those names get brought up so much. People were asking, some people were asking, should Northwestern take a shot at Urban Meyer or at Orgeron? This isn't a quick fix. Like, you can't just go after Urban Meyer and tell him that, hey, even though you have health problems every other 2 years, come back and save our program from what we're dealing with now and try to bring us back. Also, Ed Orgeron, let's be serious. I hope, because you said Ed Orgeron is actually a name that's up for the job. I pray that they aren't doing this just to put a Band-Aid on the situation and, just try to get back to success.
I'm so confused. Like, I just want to throw this in here. I'm so confused. So we fired a coach for a toxic culture, and these are the two names you come up with to fix that. That's like having a drug problem in a neighborhood and hiring Pablo Escobar to get down to the bottom.
Exactly.
Exactly. Urban Meyer just got fired from the Jaguars for bullying a grown man NFL kicker and kicking him in practice, and Ed Orgeron was sleeping with assistants in the front office.
Right.
Like these are the people you're going to get to clean up the streets. Like, what are we doing here? Like, there's no way this could happen. Like, this has to be fake. And if this is the hire they've made, that is outrageous. I mean, who are you going to hire as the OC? Les Miles or Art Browse? What are we doing? Are we? This is just to be like the evil Northwestern team of just guys who had like the worst possible things happen. We're like, we're going to fix our program. We're going to hire like the most unethical head coaches of the 2010s.
I think it actually shows where their priorities are if they even consider this.
To touch on, like you were just got done saying, the first thing that came to my mind when I read this was just like you got done saying. So we're going to take a situation that's already extremely sensitive to not only the media, but for your entire program, for your recruiting future. And we're going to bring in two guys that not only have more allegations behind them than anybody in the last almost 20 years, but guys that have literally bounced around from programs and carried things at multiple different programs, and that's the quick fix. If I'm Northwestern's athletic director, or if I'm the chancellor, or whoever I am that's the absolute decision maker, find an alumni who cares about the school, regardless of whatever the big experience is. If you can't go out and get somebody that really wants that job and have somebody that wants to install a culture, and understand you're probably going to be bad for a couple of years. Don't go out here and try to just, we're going to make a home run hire by hiring a guy who, Ed O, who literally looks like Larry the Lobster from SpongeBob, out here sleeping with 24-year-old, 22-year-old girls making it well known on social media. You have Urban Meyer grabbing girls in the bar and all the allegations at Florida and all the allegations at Ohio State and then all the stuff at the Jaguars. Man, if you want to really turn your program around, you want to make a statement, man, hire somebody that was a former alumni that cares about the school and doesn't want to see their name be in the bad spotlight.
Yeah, no, I mean, really, what these reports kind of coming out make it kind of seem like Northwestern is thirsty to find anybody to be the coach, right? And the two candidates are also thirsty to be a head coach in college football. So when it comes to putting these type of two things together, you got to think twice because, for one, was Northwestern going to have a winning record this year in the Big Ten? You got to be real. And if you think because you lose Coach Fitzgerald, you no longer will have a winning record and we have to somehow piece together a great coaching staff to really get the boys all in on the college football playoff run, this is not going to happen. You're going to have to grow this program slowly. If that means bringing up a coach from North Dakota State, going to get a guy from Division II, going to get a winning coach that makes a winning tradition, go do it. But you cannot try to make a splash move after being in front of ESPN like this after an incident which quite honestly was mishandled, right? You tried to suspend Coach Fitzgerald for 2 weeks. He thought he was on suspension, and then you fire him on ESPN 4 days later. So let's clear all of this up. Let's come out. If I'm Northwestern, I come out and I say, I don't want Urban Meyer. I don't want Les Miles. I don't want Coach O. I don't want any of these guys. We're going to go with our defensive coordinator. We're going to continue these investigations, and let's get into the season. Football season is like media day is next week. Football season is like a month away. Let's just talk about football, and in the off season, we'll think about long-term changes that we can make to our staff.
I like how you mentioned North Dakota State. Their defensive coordinator was primed to be the next head coach at North Dakota State after Entz left. That's where they hired him from. He was North Dakota State's D coordinator for all those national championships. So he's been one of the top young coaches. He's been in a winning program. Why don't you give him a shot? Because North Dakota State was willing to put their dynasty in his hands when Entz decides to up and leave, and they might still go offer him the job if Northwestern doesn't keep him.
Make a good move. Make your next move your best move, Northwestern. No splashes, bro.
Right. All right, now let's talk about quarterbacks at the college football level. In all of college football, which quarterback has the most to prove next season? Because when I thought about this, I was like, okay, to me, it's not Spencer Rattler just because I feel like he can have the best season of his college career. Scouts have graded him where they graded him. He can't do much to change that stock for me. And Drake May, I definitely don't think it's Drake May. I look at Sam Hartman, and I see what he done at his previous school, and I see him at Notre Dame now, and I'm like, maybe it's Sam. Maybe I'm gonna go with Sam Hartman on this. I see what you've done at your previous school, but can you do it at Notre Dame with a light to brighter? Can you do it? Can you ball out like how you did at your previous school? I'm gonna go with Sam Hartman, but my second pick was the quarterback at North Carolina State, whose name I forget. I would have went with him as well. But what are your picks?
I'm going to say that in terms of most to prove next year, and Kobe will appreciate this, I'm not going to put him at 1. I'll probably put him at 3. I think most to prove next year in all of college football is going to be either between Klubnik, Joe Milton, and I'm going to say Bo Nix at 3. And the reason why I'm going to say Klubnik is because he has the staff and the pieces around him. Clemson recruits well. They have a great culture. They're going to be competitive. If Klubnik comes out and turns up, they could be a top 5 team. There's no doubt about it. I mean, they've had lesser talent on their team than they have now and had more success. Joe Milton, we all know, coming out of high school, Joe Milton had so much hype around him. Everybody saw the yearly high school prospect that can throw the ball 80 yards flat-footed, and people freak out because they see the dimensionals, they see the speed, they see the athleticism. Joe Milton's coming into a situation where he can really prove something. He has a chance to finish at second in the East. He has talent around him, and then I'll go with Bo. This should be Bo's year. Bo should finish as a Heisman contender. He has a chance to be extremely competitive in his division. I wish the 3 of them success.
Hey, well, I mean, I know you mentioned Spencer Rattler at the top. I got to throw him in this, man. Spencer Rattler just threw for the most interceptions ever in his career last year. He threw for 12. All right. He was 18 touchdowns, 12 picks. You got to go somewhere from there, right? I think he can go up. I think when it comes to Shane Beamer and the Beamer boys, the catalyst is Spencer Rattler. He's the guy, right? I'm not sure if they went over 7 games this year, but when it comes to Spencer Rattler, you have the most to prove because quite honestly, everybody hopped off that boat a long time ago, back in 2021. There's only one way to get us to be back interested in Spencer Rattler, and that's winning and playing well and being, what we say with the ball, safe with the ball, right? Let's be safe with the ball. And another guy that I like that I think has a lot to prove is Michael Penix, man. Michael Penix, when he transferred from Indiana 2 years ago, a lot of people were out on him. This past year, what he did at University of Washington really galvanized a lot of Washington fans, a lot of Pac-12 fans. And I think going into this year, he has a chance to duel it out with some of the top quarterbacks in the nation, in the Pac-12. And with a couple wins, Michael Penix could look like one of the guys with the strongest arms in the draft. He could look like one of the guys with one of the best touch in the draft. There's a lot of upside for Michael Penix. But when it comes to Michael Penix, it's about these head-to-head matchups this year and what he can do against guys like Caleb Williams, guys like Bo Nix. What can he do against them?
Kobe, you're on mute, Bubba.
How about I say I just lost it? Unmute, Kobe.
You're on mute.
Oh, my bad.
There we go.
No,
Yep.
There we go.
That's my thing about Spencer Rattler though. Like, say he has a good touchdown to interception ratio next season. Is it going to change your opinion on him and where he gets drafted?
I think he
still don't
might
think
get.
that
I think he's
Spencer-
draftable. That's what it is. I think he's draftable if he can. Yeah.
He's draftable, like Kelly's saying, he's draftable because of what the upside possibly could be. But I don't still see, even if he has a great year next year, he's not going top 3 rounds.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I think I would go Tyler Buckner at 1. Transfers in from Notre Dame. Gonna probably be the guy at Alabama over Jalen Milroe. We know what happens if you don't.
You think so?
Yeah, they wouldn't bring him in to go sit on the bench.
I figured they would just have a battle.
No, it's Tyler Buckner.
Agreed.
I'll say this: you could put Buckner and Milroe both there together. Whoever starts, the pressure's on because Saban, Georgia is coming real fast for that. I mean, because really and truly, I think they're the team in college football. But Kirby's coming, and Saban has never really. I mean, up until Jimbo, an assistant never beat Saban, but Kirby has the ability to really, really start pulling away here in recent wins. I think Saban knows he's got to win this year, so I think whoever's the quarterback there has a lot of pressure. And I can't believe no one mentioned Quinn Ewers. He didn't bring in Arch Manning to sit on the bench for very long. And if it gets off to a choppy start, you already know what the chants are going to be coming from the crowd.
Arch.
Arch. And so Quinn Ewers has to have a fast start. A win over Bama and Tuscaloosa would be huge. That would quiet all doubters. But even if you don't win that game, playing well in that game like he did last year before his injury will be sufficient in my opinion. And then just one more, I guess, honorable mention. I think someone said it in the chat earlier. Shedeur Sanders better go produce over there in Colorado because there's a lot of people who've been very, very vocal about him, including his dad. If he goes out there and doesn't play well, it's just going to be definite.
And then he's a Heisman contender, man.
Yeah, and if he goes out there and he's not a top 5 quarterback in the conference, there's a lot of side eyes. And then on top of that, too, man, that's just going to hurt the FCS as a whole, man, because people are going to be like, well, you see what happens? You can go throw for 4,000 yards at Jackson State, but when you come over here to the Pac-12, you can't produce. And so I think he's carrying a lot of weight on his shoulders, and he really, really needs to go ball out.
Oh, yes. I agreed on that, Shedeur Sanders. I mean, because my bad, Clay, just add in with Shedeur Sanders. When you think about Colorado in their season, okay, right now, win-loss, they're talking about 3.5 wins. All right, if you have 4 wins, but Shedeur throws for over 3,000, Coach Prime, that's a win. All right, but if you go for 4 wins and Shedeur throws for 2,200, 20 touchdowns, 12 picks, now people are looking at you sideways. So it's definitely a ton of pressure on Shedeur Sanders this year.
I see in the comments, and honestly, I think we probably would all overlook that. Will Rogers. I want to shout out to Stock Check with Norris Powell. Will Rogers, 9-4 last year in the SEC, most passing yards in NCAA history. He threw for last season, and I was just looking back. He threw for the 3rd most single-season passing yards in SEC history last year. with over 70 touchdowns in his career. I mean, that's solid, honestly.
He's underrated. I'll say that. He's definitely
Definitely.
underrated. I think if he played anywhere outside of Mississippi State, man, he would be talked about in a whole different light.
Oh, you would have Josh Rosen hype.
The Rosen one.
The Rosen one.
Did they
God,
really
that guy-
call that man that? The Rosen play?
That guy
Yes, he did.
stinks.
Yes, they did.
That guy stinks.
Hey, Jermichael Howard, if Colorado wins 7 games, they will place rose petals up before Prime's feet everywhere he walks. Like that man
Bro,
would
they're
be
building a statue.
goated. He would have a whole day in Colorado.
Statue.
Like
Statue.
if they win 7 games, oh my goodness.
They will build a statue of Prime on his scooter outside of the stadium.
On the scooter is crazy.
On the scooter.
All right. So let me ask y'all this, right? Next topic. What's the worst rule in college football? The worst rule. Just
Oh,
one
let's
you
say it
think.
together, guys. Targeting. So for
There
me,
we
it's
go.
targeting at least. All right. If you're gonna kick guys out for targeting, let's give them
I agree.
15-yard penalties first. Keep them in the
I
game,
agree.
and next time we'll do it. Or let's make it a spot foul. Like just kicking guys out of the game for a crackback block is ridiculous, right? I thought that's what football was. I thought it was about smacking guys when they're not looking. You know, now we're coming to an era of college football where people are scared to hit guys. They're scared to make tackles because of this targeting
Yo.
foul. If the targeting foul turns into a spot foul, I think it would change everything.
That's
Kelly,
a
I'm
good
100%
point.
with you.
How many games have we seen be turned upside down momentum-wise because a guy got a targeting penalty? Like, and he just had to sit out the rest of the game. How many games have we seen? But for me, right, and this was like recent. I didn't like that they got rid of the fake slide right after Kenny did it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought it was innovative. I thought it was cool. I ain't like that they kind of put an end to it after he did it just because he thought of something nobody else did. Like that's just me.
That was
I'm
one of
going
the
100%
coldest
targeting.
moves. Yeah, that was one of the coldest moves in college football. Like that's
Oh,
up
yeah.
there.
History.
Is that not Michael Vickish?
Straight out the Michael Vick book.
Yeah.
Targeting's got to be the worst. Make
Yeah.
football violent again, please. Please.
Remember it's like you remember growing up watching like those hardest hit compilations on YouTube? We don't get those anymore because you can't hit that one.
Right.
All right.
They're like illegal.
Kelly, I know I think me, you, and Kobe are kind of relatively similar in age. I know, Blue, you're what, 28?
6. No, I'm 26.
Blues are-
Okay, so no, we're all the same age.
No, we all the same, yeah.
Okay, we're all the same. For some reason, Blue, I thought you said that you were a little bit older than us. But do we all not remember how violent Taylor Mays at USC's highlights were?
Dude,
He
he gave
was
his
putting people on
Oh
stretchers.
my god.
he gave his own teammate a concussion in game. Like,
And then
come
he
on.
went to the Bengals, and he didn't really do nothing on the Bengals. But Taylor Mays, to this day, when you talk about like hard-hitting people, obviously you're gonna name like your
Bro,
Sean
do y'all
Taylors
not
and your
remember?
Reuben Fosters and stuff. But bro, Taylor Mays was folding people.
Do y'all not remember the Sugar Bowl between Louisville and Florida when Teddy Bridgewater got hit
Oh,
that hard
God.
and his helmet came off?
Oh, you talking about John
That
Bostic?
type
Were
of
you
hit
talking
in
about
today's
Bostic?
game. Number one,
Bostic, our linebacker. He used to play for the Steelers.
yeah.
Yeah. How
When he hit
about
Teddy Bridgewater so hard?
How about the opening play of the national championship when Major Wright put a guy literally into a wheelchair?
Yeah, up the sidelines.
Major Wright caught him. He was in the air. If he would have not got touched, he was still out of bounds, and Major Wright folded him. First play of the game. 7 seconds shaved off the clock. Make football violent again.
To an extent, yeah. No, I do agree. I do
Yeah,
agree.
to an extent. Like, let's not root for the wheelchair situation, but like, I
No.
would like to see something
But, like, no. Give me the early 2000s Ray Lewis hits and Sean Taylors and like the guys you were like terrified to like. All right, I don't want to get hit by that guy.
That Reggie Bush hit's still one of my favorite. Like where they threw that
Ugh.
swing pass to him, and
Right.
I mean he didn't even see it coming.
Got decleated.
Who was that hit him?
I don't even remember who they were playing. I'm not a huge NFL fan, but I remember that clip. That one was disgusting.
Yeah, and then even just from speaking from past entertainment perspective and talking about the targeting foul and what it's done to different players at this point is slowing the game down. I mean, a lot of guys are going a little bit like half speed when it comes to tackling guys. They're trying to make sure they really don't lead with their head. We're starting to see a different type of football, and I mean, honestly, especially from college football. College football it's the most impactful because, quite honestly, you're trying to go to the league, trying to go to the draft. Being suspended for a game or two is not going to help you. You're gonna want to do everything possible to keep within the rules and still keep your same full speed mentality, which is kind of hard to do with targeting foul.
Yeah.
All right, not to cut anybody off. If Kobe, if you're getting ready to change the category, I know you're probably on mute right now, but in the comments, of course, I'm gonna have to respond to this because y'all know who
Which
my
one?
team is. Billy Napier is not on the hot seat. He has coached one season at the University of Florida. He is not on the hot seat. You don't get on the hot seat when you come in on a transition class. That is not possible. Doesn't happen. If that was the case, Kirby Smart was on the hot seat after he lost to Vanderbilt. Not.
Oh,
I was at that game, and there were some alumni putting him on the hot seat. I just want to let you know that.
Yeah, I remember whenever. What was it? His second year. What was his second year? What was the loss they had their second year? Oh, his second year there, he lost to Florida. Matt Jones and Jordan Scarlett ran for 300 yards, and they were calling for Kirby's job. Give us Mark Richt back. But what happened if you would have fired him now? Look what he just got done doing.
What an era that was with Mark Richt. I remember that truck commercial he had.
What? Them boys, listen, when Mark Richt was at Georgia, those dudes, like you said, rose petals, if they won 9 to 10 games a year, they didn't care.
They were the best 10-2 team in history.
Oh, absolutely. The No Shot Marino days, absolutely.
All right, so we're getting towards the end now. Last topic before overreaction, not overreaction. Should the Group of 5 conferences have their own national championship? I went back and forth on this because, like, on one hand, I do like the Cinderella stories in college football. I do. I really do. Like, when you see a Boise State upset of Oklahoma, you love those kind of games. Like, those games live on in college football history, right? But at the same time, like, at some point, you just got to be realistic, man. You just got to be realistic. A lot of these schools will never have a chance at the national championship. A lot of these schools don't have the facilities or the money or the ability to recruit at the way that these bigger schools do. Is it fair that they have to play in the Michelin Tire Bowl after a successful season instead of getting a chance at a national championship? It's not fair to them. So, I mean, should they have their own national championship? Yes or no? What y'all think?
I'm going to go last. I'm going to let y'all take that one.
Honestly, I don't really want to comment on it because, I mean, even if you move to another league and you say that you won the national championship, you didn't win the national championship. You didn't win as the best college football team
in the nation
in Division I football.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. This is what I don't care about. I feel like if it's Middle Tennessee and you got Tulane in the championship game, I'm not turning that on. I think
no one's watching that.
I think the biggest problem is that these Greater 5 teams are now with their back against the wall in the corner, looking at everybody else like, what can we do to look better and be on a national stage? Where when in fact, I think like institutions need to play more like institutions. When it comes to Greater 5, let's set up some FCS alliances. Let's be real about the situation. If you can't get the Power 5 to look at y'all and take y'all serious in the postseason, let's find other institutions that will. Now, I completely understand FBS, FCS, the difference is subdivision, right? The bowl subdivision. But when it comes to playing teams during your conference, during the year, non-conference games, the same way the SWAC and the Pac-12 made their legacy series between men's and women's basketball, let's see these things in football. Let's see the Big Sky and the Mountain West team up and do a legacy series. Let's see Montana State play against teams like Boise State. Let's see Sacramento State and Fresno State. Let's see Weber State and Utah State. I think when it comes to Greater 5 teams trying to improve their profile, necessarily making a national championship might not really help. We kind of saw that with UCF. I think when it comes to it, it's about playing other fan bases that are interested in the same amount of football that you are, and that's what increases your profile.
Hear me out. Get rid of the Group of 5.
Or that.
Either Hear me out.
or that.
Either man up and put up the money to go to Power 5 like UCF and Cincinnati did, or take your ass back to FCS where you belong and stop acting like New Mexico State is a Division One is a FBS program.
It's not even worth the jump from FCS.
It's not even
to
worth
Mexico
it.
State.
It like to me. Okay, so here's how I look at it. The Power 5 has their own playoff. There's only been one Group of 5 team to ever make it, and it's Cincinnati. They got beat, whatever, but now Cincinnati's Power 5. So now there's 0 Group of 5 teams that have ever made the college football playoff at this point. So, let the Power 5 have their playoffs, make all the money. If the Group of 5 and FCS combined, one, you would have so much old rivalries that would come back from like the old SoCon days, old Big Sky days. I mean, it would be amazing to watch. But also, what you could do is you would have some of those bigger brands come back, the Appalachia States, the Coastal Carolinas, the Liberties, some of these big programs. Even, man, imagine Memphis playing at the FCS level. How you would go from being a borderline top 25 team, probably top 45, to a top 10 team year in and year out. That's what would happen. And at the end of the day, because you bring those big brands back, let's be honest, because yes, does the Power 5 fan, the average Power 5 fan care about Group of 5? No. But would that increase the viewership and the money being put in by the NCAA to the FCS if that's all one now? Because they're not going to leave Memphis and some of these big brands out there to drive. It's the best way to increase visibility in the FCS while letting the Power 5 do what they do. Because let's be honest, Tulane, Coastal Carolina, App State, Memphis, none of those teams are winning the national title. Boise State, not winning the national title. You're going to the 12-team playoff to potentially make a run and get beat by Georgia at the end of the day, if anything, if you make a big run. That's what's happening. James Madison, Liberty, Coastal Carolina, App State, Boise State, San Diego State, San Jose State. I mean, who else you want to throw in there? You're an FCS team masquerading as a FBS team. Just go ahead and come back down, make it one big party again, let the Power 5 do their thing, because here's what's going to happen. And this is, and I don't know if we talked about this on this show. The NCAA increased that transition fee for a reason. They are tired of teams moving up to FBS. I'm telling you guys, some teams are going to get demoted because what's happening is everyone says they're moving up because of money. They're moving up because of money. Well, guess what? A $3 million pot divided by 20 ways is not the same as a $20 million pot divided by 8, 9, 10 ways. That money is going to be spread too thin, and guess what? You're going to be broken sad because you went from a national championship program to now you're going 3-9 and you're still broke.
He said, if you scared, stay on the porch.
Yeah, no, I mean we seen in basketball. It happens in basketball all the time. In terms of mid-major and Power 5, there's a big difference. The teams play each other all the time, non-conference. We see what happens when the squabbles happen. But when it comes to understanding different conference realignment in basketball, there's a hierarchy. You can make it to the March Madness, but you got the playing game on Wednesday, big fella. That's it. That's what it is. And really, to me, college basketball has given the template for this. I think now football should file in and understand that since you're increasing the playoff to 12 teams, you also have to understand that as that 12th team, you have very small odds to make it to a championship, and you probably need other ways to gain popularity and to really grow your fan base.
Because, here's what I'm looking at. Everyone jokes about the attendance, and it is what it is. Some of these Group of 5 programs have really good attendance. Or you think if App State's going to a national championship game, they aren't bringing 20K people? Memphis isn't bringing 15K? That attendance starts rising up, increases the money. The NCAA is more invested in what's going on. And let's just be honest, the Power 5 is looking to exclude the NCAA in some of these new deals. There's going to be some resources that can be generated and kind of transition to this Group of 5 FCS level. And at the end of the day, let's just be honest, based on what we've seen on the field, and let's just say the past 15 years, the distance between the Group of 5 and Power 5 is much bigger than the distance between the upper echelon FCS teams and the Group of 5.
Agreed.
I agree.
Agreed. Okay. All right. So Y'all know what time it is. All right, overreaction,
Sponsored by
not
On
overreaction.
3.
It is not from On 3 this week.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
I'm just messing.
It's time for one. All right, overreaction, not overreaction.
Oof.
Tennessee being caught with over 200 recruiting violations with avoiding a bowl ban and only have to pay $8 million as a punishment is a slap on the wrist by the NCAA.
It's not an overreaction. They should have had a much harsher penalty.
I didn't know it was 200 recruiting violations. I didn't know it was 200. That's a lot on me. That's crazy.
100.
I saw the article. It said over 200 recruiting violations. I said,
Hey, they were
Yo.
talking about tripping wins and making them not bowl eligible for a numerous amount of years, and they get an $8 million fine, slap on the wrist.
I mean, that's how much they
how
paid
do you
Nico.
avoid the
So
bowl ban? How does that happen?
It's the SEC. They're gonna break rules.
Well, also, like, it's also weird because what's happening is you're punishing the university because they fired everybody. There's no players left from that.
right.
What happened? There's no
Yeah.
coaches. So it's almost like the NCAA is looking at it like, okay, we're taking a little bit of money away, but we really can't punish the people who did it because they all got fired. They're all elsewhere. So the only way to justly punish them is wherever Jeremy Pruitt's coaching. Guess what? Y'all might have a bowl ban now. That's what the NCAA should start doing is handing out more show clauses, not necessarily punt. Like so if a university messes up, find the university, punish them, but don't punish the players who didn't do anything and the new coaching staff that's coming in that didn't do anything. Wherever those coaches that messed up went, give them show clauses where if a team hires them, guess what? You got to suffer this guy's punishment until he serves it.
I think that they should make it so those guys can't be able to just commit whatever they do at a school and then go get another job and then they get off scot-free. I 100% agree with you. They should not be able to go get another job.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's the biggest thing. That's why it's not an overreaction. It is kind of just a slap on the wrist, but I do think it's kind of good because I don't think those new players deserve to get punished for what this previous staff did when they all were in high school or these coaches were out there doing the right thing at other universities.
I'm not saying like bowl bans and stripping wins and stuff, but they should have definitely at least like made the fine and then take some scholarships or something. Like they shouldn't have made it just you got to just write a check that we all know Tennessee has the money for. They should have made it a little bit more harsher because now it seems like, all right, cool. Then somebody else does too. The next person that's going to go and commit all these recruiting violations, all they know is, all right, we have to write an $8 million check now.
Like the one thing I will ask, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I think a good punishment would be, so every coach has like a recruiting area. They have a specialty position, whatever. The coaches who get caught with these recruiting violations, if you get hired as an assistant, an analyst, cut recruiting hours, increase the dead period for those coaches, and take the amount of scholarships that coach can offer per year. That's how you should punish this.
I like that.
And take the area. Like if you're assigned to coach it, like to recruit in South Florida, you're not allowed to recruit in South Florida anymore.
Well, not even that area. So, like, let's say you have a new area, like wherever you committed the violations, you can't recruit that high school for 3 years.
Bingo.
Ooh.
Bingo.
Hey, if the NCAA was serious, I definitely think this is not an overreaction. We talked last week, a couple weeks ago, about like what sanctions could do to a program. I think this money thing is kind of cool. I mean, I think in all scenarios, it may not work the same. But if like an $8 million fine happens to the coach at Georgia Southern, the president of Georgia Southern wants to fire that coach. They're not just going to be like, oh, it's only $8 million. Like, no, this money thing really means something to other programs. I think just the fact that it was Tennessee and how much money they already have and how they have 110,000 people at every home game, they'll make this money back. But setting a precedent going forward, I like this.
Yeah, you got to find like 10. If it's an SEC school, I need like 108 million.
Right.
I mean, because you got to think now in the last 4 years, you got to think big SEC schools charging $12 to $16 a beer because you can sell alcohol now, bro. And alcohol sales, they're making that $8 million in a couple games.
So definitely a slap on the wrist. All right, so overreaction, not overreaction. Ohio State finishes the season 9-3 next season.
Overreaction.
Not an overreaction. I don't know if they could beat Michigan.
I think not overreaction. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I think over. I mean, I still think they get 10.
9-3 seems pretty realistic.
I'm trying to pull up their schedule because I got to see who they play because that 3 losses is a lot for Ohio State.
It is.
Even in a transition quarterback year for them, I still think they're going
All
to
right,
want to.
boom. I'm gonna give you 2 of them: Penn State, Michigan.
Michigan's not ever a lock though.
I got them as a lock.
Is it at Michigan? I want to say it is. Yeah, because it's at Michigan this year. That's a loss, I think.
Penn State and Michigan is a loss.
And
Are
then
they playing
what?
in Penn State too?
Yes. Well, no, that's in Columbus.
That's not even a guaranteed loss either, though.
I think a sneaky one would be the 2 road games at Notre Dame and Wisconsin.
When do they go to
At
Wisconsin during the cold?
Yep.
Well, it wouldn't matter.
October 28th.
October 28th. So that's
Was
late.
that week 5?
October 28th? That's like week 8 or 9, maybe 10.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
So
week 8.
How many losses happening for Ohio State?
I think 10-2, 9-3 was pretty reasonable. I can see it.
Yes. They also play at Michigan. I don't know if you guys said that, but yeah.
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 Yeah, that's a
10-2,
loss.
9-3, I would say. Okay, so yeah, with the schedule, 10-2, 9-3 is not out of the realm. I don't think they're going undefeated by any means.
Oh, not at all. Overreaction, not overreaction. Tennessee finishes the season unranked.
Oof.
Overreaction.
Overreaction.
They would never
I have
let
a lot of faith in Joe. I don't have it.
the committee would never let a team like SEC team like Tennessee
Exactly.
finish unranked at the end of the season. They will never let that happen.
They'll be 25th at 7-5.
Right. No matter what.
Yeah, and I could see them 8-4, 9-3. They're going to be ranked at that record.
100%.
All right. Overreaction, not overreaction. Penn State makes the college football playoffs.
Overreaction.
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 I think it's
They're not-
overreaction.
They're not better than USC. They're not better than Georgia. They're not better than Michigan.
Or LSU. Or
And the
Alabama
fourth
right
team,
now.
and the 4th team, are you going to talk about, like you're saying, LSU, Alabama?
Clemson.
Oh, I keep forgetting
Florida
that
State.
12 team starts next year.
Clemson
Right.
has the opportunity to be the 4th team this year. If Kobe's talking about what he's talking about, maybe Oregon could be the 4th team this year. Maybe not.
What? Why is that so hard for you to believe? Why is that so hard for you to believe?
Bro, that wasn't me up in the chop or anything. That was me saying I was shouting you out, my boy.
You know what? When it happens, I'm gonna clip this moment and I'm gonna replay it. I swear, man. All right, last one. Oh, look at that. I just want to reiterate it. That's all.
The Beamer
That's all. I
boys.
just wanted to reiterate it for those of you who didn't see the last episode. The Gamecocks will beat Clemson for a second time in a row. That's it. I just want to put it out there.
What about
Where it
Washington
shows
beating
our
Oregon?
names. Where it shows our names on the panel. From this week going forward, my name from now on is going to be Clemson by 14. South Carolina's not beating these boys next year.
Okay. All right.
They're not beating them. Let's dead this now. They're not beating them next year.
Maybe next episode we do like a Clemson schedule breakdown. I'm interested to see what Dabo is going to do coming up. To be
Man,
honest,
let's just go ahead and do it now. We've only been on for an hour and a half. Go through it quick. Just say win, loss, win, loss. Go through it right now.
Yeah,
And then go through
Clemson.
Carolina. Kelly, pull up Carolina. Blue, pull up Clemson.
for sure.
Count that last week as a loss.
All right, I got Clemson's right here. They open up at Duke.
That's a
Dub.
win.
Charleston Southern.
Dub.
Of course.
Yep.
Florida Atlantic.
Loss.
Oh, that's so
Dub,
weak.
dub,
Oh my
Dub.
god.
Dub.
It's a soft
3-0.
non-conference.
3-0. Florida State at home.
Loss.
Could be a shakeup, but I think
Loss.
it all depends on Jordan Travis.
At Syracuse.
Win.
Versus Wake Forest at home.
Dub.
That's a
Yeah, without Sam Hartman.
Yo, that's a tough schedule, man. Those first 3 conference games,
Yeah.
that's tough.
And then they get 2 straight road games, Miami and NC State.
Yo, 3 losses loading, homie.
And we're not done.
I
We still
wouldn't look past NC State.
We still got
Right.
4 more games. We got Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and North Carolina at home after that. And then they finish up at South Carolina.
That's a man. Come on, man.
Whoa.
I say,
Oh my God.
Carolina,
I
man.
say at max for Clemson next year, 3 losses. At max.
If they go undefeated with this schedule, they might be the 1 seed.
You know
Definitely.
Georgia's going to steamboat everybody by 40 regardless.
Georgia's strength of schedule is going to be like negative 500.
Yeah.
They played UT Martin 3 times.
Right.
Right. They play a school of deaf and blind week 7.
Florida State wins. Syracuse wins. Thank you, Zoe.
All right, let's go through Carolina real quick.
Yeah, let's go through South Carolina. So, week 1, they play Drake May at home. South Carolina versus North Carolina.
That's a loss.
All right. Week 2, they play versus Furman.
That's a loss.
Well, week 3, you might be able to say it, South Carolina at Georgia.
Oh, that's a loss.
All right, so we're at 1 and 2.
All right.
Oh,
and then,
so sure.
now we got South Carolina at home versus Mississippi State. Will Rogers.
That's a win.
1 and 3, possibly 2 and 2.
That's a win, though.
Gotcha. And then next, we got South Carolina at Tennessee.
That's a loss.
2 and 3.
All right. Then versus Florida,
That's a win.
3 and 3.
By 50.
which is actually homecoming, by the way, for South Carolina.
They're beating us probably.
Homecoming. Florida's the bottom feeder of the East this year.
They're beating us probably.
Then next, we got South Carolina at Missouri.
That's a dub.
Win.
And then at Texas A&M.
That's a win.
Shit, who knows, honestly. Jimbo Fisher,
I don't trust Jimbo.
It's tough.
No, I
And
don't
then-
trust Jimbo
I don't
either.
trust Jimbo either.
Are they playing in A&M?
Yeah.
Yep, at A&M. The next, you're at home versus Jacksonville State.
Dub. Loss.
Maybe.
I'm kidding.
Home against Vanderbilt.
Win.
Home against Kentucky.
Win.
Then our big game, home against Clemson.
A
Look
loss.
at the momentum difference. Come on, man.
Loss.
Come on. The game
So how many-
got this, bro.
So how many losses realistically do we have? They're losing to Georgia, they're losing to North Carolina, they're losing to Clemson, and they're losing to who else?
I think 8-4 is reasonable for South Carolina this year.
Yeah, give me 2 and a possible. I mean, Georgia for sure. North Carolina game is kind of up in the air. I'm not sure yet.
I don't like them going to Tennessee. That's a tough place to win.
That is a
Right.
tough place. I understand that.
We got a comment saying Clemson's going to have 4 to 5 losses next year.
That's pretty extreme.
Speak on it, Jermichael.
4 or 5 L's? Who do you got as the L's?
I say 9 and 3.
I won't be surprised if Clemson loses around 3 games, though. That's a tough
I would say
in-conference
3
schedule.
I would say 3s are max, like I was saying. 3s are max.
You're really high you're bullishly high on Clemson this year.
Man, Kobe will attest to this, man. Living in South Carolina, bro, half of the people that used to be Carolina fans are Clemson fans now, and vice versa. People
Which
have
is wild.
flopped back and forth over the years of the Lattimore days to the Deshaun Watson days, back and forth. Like, personally, I don't have a dog in the fight between either one of them. I'm an SEC. I'm a Florida Gator fan, but I don't.
Was Bobby Petrino always at Texas A&M, or am I just know?
My topic at the situation is I just don't think South Carolina is going to beat them back to back.
Wow. Okay.
That's
All right.
tough. No, that Bobby Petrino, that's news to me. I haven't kept up with Bobby.
Yeah, he was Missouri State's head coach, and they hired him as the OC.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
So you got Jimbo and Bobby Petrino, man. It's gonna be real ethical in Texas A&M's locker room next year.
Smoking weed in the locker room.
All right, y'all. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of FBS Fridays. This has been a very successful one. Catch us. We'll let y'all know if we're all available for next week or the week after, but we will be back for another episode soon. With that being said, y'all got anything y'all want to say before we leave?
I think we're all ready for college football season.
Oh my God, too ready.
It's ridiculous.
Too ready.
Yeah, I'm tired of think pieces. I'm ready for football.
Yeah, I'm ready to be able to talk about what happened the week before, or what do we think about what's going to happen tomorrow. Or that's what I'm ready for. That's when this show is very fun.
It's gonna kick up, yeah, when the season
That's when this show is very fun.
For sure. All right, man. We'll catch y'all next time. Thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate it. Peace.
Peace.
Everybody, we appreciate y'all very much.